All right, team, settle in. Imagine we're deep in the heart of the Sumatran rainforest. The air is thick, you can feel the humidity, and all around us is this incredible soundscape of the jungle. Think of this as an expedition, a botanical quest to find one of nature's most bizarre and brilliant performers. You ready? Let's get into it. Our journey starts not with our eyes, but with our noses. And that right there, that's our first clue. That scent drifting on the air. You know the one. It smells like a large animal that's been lying in the sun for far too long. For most people, that's a signal to turn around and walk away, fast. But for us, it's a beacon, guiding us to our target, one of the largest, rarest, and most deceptive plants on the entire planet. We're gonna follow that stench.
Okay, this is it. The first leg of our journey. We're officially on the giant scent trail. This is old school botanical detective work, right? Just letting our noses lead us through the undergrowth, straight to the source, the legendary Titan Arum.
Okay, so first things first, let's clear something up because this is a really common point of confusion. When people say corpse flower, they might be picturing that wide, flat Rafflesia arnoldii on the right. It's a spectacular plant, no doubt, but that's not what we're after today. What we're tracking is this absolute giant on the left, Amorphophallus titanum. It's not actually one single flower, but an inflorescence, a huge spike packed with hundreds of tiny flowers. Two different kinds of genius, both from Sumatra, both masters of tricking you with their smell. But today, we're all about the Titan. And what's just mind-blowing about this is the precision of the lie. This isn't just some vague bad smell. The Titan Arum has evolved to produce a specific chemical cocktail that basically reads like a forensic report. You've got dimethyl trisulfide, that's the signature scent of decaying meat. And then you mix in the delightful notes of sweaty socks and rotting fish. It's a perfume of death, and it's perfectly engineered to fool its target audience.
But creating the scent is only half the battle. How do you get that smell to travel through a dense jungle? Well, that's where another piece of genius comes in, thermogenesis. This plant can actually generate its own heat, kind of like a mammal. It gives itself a fever, warming up that central spike, which we call a spadix, and that heat turns those heavy scent molecules into a vapor and creates this rising column of air, like a chimney, just pumping that stench up and out into the forest.
And look, we're not talking about just a little bit of warmth here. This plant can raise its temperature by up to 10 degrees Celsius, almost reaching human body temperature. Think about the energy that takes. It's burning through years of stored starches from its underground corm, all in one desperate 24-hour blast, just to make sure its genes get passed on. It's literally pretending to be a warm-blooded corpse. It's incredible.
Okay, so tricking noses? Check. The plant's a master at that. But the con doesn't stop there. As we get closer to the plant itself, you can see it's also a master of visual trickery. It's time we really dig into the art of its deception. I mean, just look at this. Before that giant flower stalk ever appears, the Titan Arum puts up this single enormous leaf that can be the size of a small tree. And the stalk of that leaf, the petiole, is covered in these beautiful, intricate patterns. Now you might think, oh, that's just for decoration. But you have to remember, in nature, decoration almost always has a purpose. This is a very sophisticated disguise.
Yeah, there's actually a name for this incredible strategy. It's called petiolar mimicry. The plant is actively making its soft, fleshy leaf stalk look like something it's not. What's it trying to look like? It's mimicking the patterns of lichen and algae you'd find growing on the tough, woody bark of a tree trunk. It's a form of camouflage, sure, but it's more than that. It's a full-on masquerade. But why go to all that trouble? What's the point? Well, think about it. If you're a hungry herbivore wandering through the forest, a giant, fleshy, nutrient-rich stalk looks like an easy meal. But a hard, woody tree trunk that's covered in lichens that might even be toxic? Yeah, not so appealing. This is just a brilliant example of how the plant defends itself by hiding in plain sight, pretending to be something tough and inedible. All right, everyone, let's take a quick trip out of the field for a second and step into the lab. Because the deceptions we can see and smell are absolutely incredible. But some of the biggest secrets of the whole Amorphophallus genus, well, they're hidden from the naked eye. To really understand them, we have to learn how to read its DNA. You have to understand, for botanists, this whole genus was a massive headache. We're talking over 240 species, and their physical forms are so varied and sometimes so similar that trying to build a family tree based on just how they look was, well, it was incredibly confusing. The answer to who was related to whom wasn't in the leaves or the flowers, it was encoded in their genetic script. So how exactly do you read that script? Well, the process is called phylogenetics, and it's basically genetic genealogy for plants. You start by carefully extracting the DNA. Then you sequence specific gene markers. Think of them as unique genetic barcodes. By comparing these barcodes across dozens of species, you can analyze their relationships and then map them out onto a definitive family tree. And this is what they found. This diagram, this phylogenetic tree, this is the result of all that work. It's based on DNA from 157 different species, and it completely redrew our understanding of the whole genus. Every spot where branches split represents a common ancestor. The closer the branches are, the more closely related the species are. So this isn't about guesswork anymore. This is a map of their true evolutionary history.
So what's the big takeaway from all this genetic digging? A massive breakthrough. The data clearly showed 4 main branches on the family tree, which allowed scientists to create a totally new, much more accurate classification system. It finally brought a sense of order to the beautiful chaos of the Amorphophallus genus.
Okay, now that we have this amazing genetic roadmap, let's head back out into the field. Think of this next part as our expedition's field guide, because understanding those deep family relationships helps us really appreciate the incredible diversity we see all around us on the ground. Let's learn how to spot some key features.
Right away, one of the easiest things to spot is the inflorescence itself. That's the spathe and spadix. And just look at the difference here. On one hand, you've got the deep, flesh-colored maroon of Amorphophallus peonifolius, which is clearly trying to look like meat. And on the other, the elegant pale white structure of A. euloensis. These totally different colors and shapes are clues about the different pollinators they're trying to attract.
And the story doesn't end when the flower fades. If pollination is successful, the stalk produces this cluster of berries. And again, the variety is just stunning. Check out the bright orange and red berries of A. bulbifer compared to the almost alien-like blueberries of A. euloensis. This incredible diversity in berry color points to different strategies for spreading seeds, most likely targeting different kinds of birds to carry their future offspring far and wide. So after everything we've seen today, the chemical warfare, the self-heating, the camouflage, it's just so obvious that the Titan Arum is an absolute masterpiece of evolution. But, and this is a big but, for all its power and size, its existence is hanging by a very thin thread. And this is the number that should really hit home. This is the number that keeps botanists up at night. The best estimate we have is that there are only about 303 mature Titan Arums left in the wild. That's it. Deforestation is closing in, and its own biology, the fact that it takes so long to bloom and needs another one blooming nearby, makes it incredibly vulnerable. This giant is officially endangered. And that's where our expedition wraps up for today. With this fragile giant that fakes death to create life, wears an elaborate costume to avoid being eaten, and whose family secrets were only just unlocked by its DNA, it is a true evolutionary masterpiece. Which really leaves us with one big, important question. If just one plant can hide this much genius, what other brilliant strategies, what other undiscovered stories are still waiting out there for us, hidden deep within our forests?